Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back, or should I say, welcome to our first ever Hero House Top 10 list. Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 Lightning Collection figures we need. Now, if you follow the channel, you know how much I love the Lightning Collection, and obviously I have some strong opinions on this, so let's dive right in and begin with... Number 10 is the one and only Rito Repulso, the brother of Rita Repulsa and a very significant part of the Power Ranger lore. A lot of villains show up and, you know, they say they're going to change everything, they're going to make a difference. They don't really pull it off. Rito's arrival changed the entire scope of Power Rangers. I mean, in space, Zeo, Turbo, all of them basically owe Rito's appearance because he showed up, he ruined the Thunderzords, he destroyed the connection to the whole, you know, dino aspect and forced them to evolve into the ninja powers and introduced a bigger universe. He's a very significant character, and it's a shame we don't have a figure yet. He should have been in the 2-pack that's coming out later this year. It should have been him and Rita, not Rita and Zed, because we don't need 2 Zeds. We've already had a Zed. So it's a good way for, you know, people to get Zed again, but it's kind of a waste that then Rita is, you know, redundant in that 2-pack. So, yeah, it should have been Rito, and I'm very disappointed that it's not him. Anyway, rolling on to number 9. Number 9 are the Tenga Warriors. Yes, the random mooks that Rito brought with him outrank him as a figure. Why? Because the Tengas are pretty much the best of the sort of generic foot soldiers, because they're unique, they aren't mass-produced, they were hatched from an egg, there's a limited supply, and there's so much storytelling potential there. If they brought out Tenga Warrior figures, I would probably do a stop-motion series solely about them, because I find it so intriguing, like their race is a bunch of warriors. And these guys, you know, imagine it's just 10 birds who have had to fight the Power Rangers over and over again. That's so interesting. Imagine the personalities they developed. We should have gotten to see that. It should have been explored. So I'm really hoping we get figures of them so I can do that exploration in a series. Alright, on to number 8.
It's morphin' time!
Number 8 is not a villain. It is in fact Zeo Green, aka Adam Park. So he is the second Black Ranger, he was the first Zeo Green, he was the first Turbo Green, and Adam is, you know, a very beloved Ranger. He really came into his own in Zeo, because he was basically picking up the slack from Tommy's crap leadership. And it just made him a more interesting and likable character, and obviously the actor's gone on to do tons of voice work. And yeah, if you get a Zeo Green figure, you'll get the Adam head, which you can use on a Zack body when it comes out, so you get your, you know, Adam as the Black Ranger as well, so it's kind of a twofer. So it's a figure we need, he's one of, you know, the seminal Rangers, a long-serving Ranger, so hopefully we get him soon. And now, on to number 7. Number 7 is the Quantum Ranger from Power Rangers Time Force. Now, Eric is basically the Tommy to Wes's Jason. They had a fantastic rivalry that developed very well throughout the series. Time Force, again, probably had the most complex character development in Power Rangers history. It was a very serialized story, and their growth throughout was beautiful to see. And I just really hope that we get that figure soon, because again, Daniel Southworth, the actor, he does some great voice work too. So he's Virgil in Devil May Cry, so I've got 2 reasons to really like the dude. And their scene in the clock tower, Wes and Eric's last stand, is just absolutely incredible. Sort of a next level action scene for Power Rangers. So I'd love to be able to recreate that to an extent. Alright, number 6. Number 6 is the Omega Red Ranger, or really any Omega Ranger. They're a concept that were introduced in the comics, and they're a concept I really, really enjoy, where, you know, Jason, Zack, and Trini didn't just go to a peace conference. They were pretty much drafted to be super secret operative Rangers and go out into space and, you know, have wacky hijinks out in there. It really adds to the characters, and I think the actor for Jason himself was once asked, you know, what would Jason have been doing, and he said, you know, he'd be basically a special ops ranger letting other people take all the credit while he actually got the job done, which suits Jason's character. So I love the idea, it would add to my Jason love, I'd love to have the figure on a shelf with the rest of my Jason collection, and hopefully we get it soon. I think we might with this one, I'm quite optimistic. Alright, number 5.
I'm Trakina.
Number 5 is Trakina from Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Trakina had some of the best development of a villain we've seen in Power Rangers. Her arc throughout the whole season is actually an almost Shakespearean tragedy, and it just plays out so beautifully. She's well acted, and such an interesting design as well. She'd be great to see on a shelf because she is quite unique. And would, Leo needs someone to throw down. We have Leo, and we have the Magna Defender, so having the main villain at this point makes sense. Plus, it's another female figure to add to a line that is desperately lacking in female figures. So hopefully she comes out soon. I'm optimistic about her as well. Now, on to number 4.
How about if I destroy you?
Number 4 is Astronomer, the main villain from Power Rangers in Space, and the second Pink Ranger from Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. She's the only main villain who goes on to become a Power Ranger in the next season, and it was a very interesting transition to see. It was also the sort of last bit of continuity Power Rangers had before shifting into, each team was completely separate from the one that came before. So it was sort of an end of an era and a nice way to do that. Plus, it would be interesting to see the execution of the figure itself, because Astronomer's whole deal was she had multiple changing hairstyles, and seeing her come with multiple heads would be good, and you could use the multiple heads to make her Lost Galaxy Pink when they bring out the Lost Galaxy Pink figure, which could just come with Kendrick's basic head. So yeah, plus her relationship with Andros, being a sibling, means that they could be a 2-pack, another decent 2-pack. He could even come with, his space scooter thing, space surfboard, the thing he flew on, which would be cool. So I think that's a ripe 2-pack that I'd really like to see, but the figure I'd want from it the most is Astronomer. All right, rolling on to number 3.
Talk from a little green goon, yeah! Astronomer is never going to have to worry about you again.
Now, number 3 and number 2 kind of tie in together, and they're also both from In Space. In Space was just a great season. And these guys had the relationship of Ecliptor and Darkonda. I can't even think of sort of a modern pop culture dynamic that's even to theirs, because there was such a bitter hatred between the two. It was almost a Game of Thrones relationship in its complexity. There was almost a symbiotic relationship between how Darkonda would use Ecliptor's power, then Ecliptor had his fatherly figures towards Astronomer, who Darkonda had kidnapped and initially sort of given to him. There were just so many interesting layers between the two, and Darkonda is still, to this day, perhaps the most reprehensible villain Power Rangers has ever produced. Everyone hated that guy, even the other villains thought he was scum, and he was just delightful to see, and both of them have such incredible designs. So yeah, they're my 3 and 2, and I'd say I'd want Darkonda above Ecliptor, but if they released them as a 2-pack, holy shit, I would be all over that. I mean, they're incredibly well designed, they come with some great accessories, and their fight scene, recreating their fight scene, which is one of the best Power Rangers has produced, would be a delight to do in stop motion. So yeah, 3 and 2 would be those guys, and I really hope we get it. Now, on to number 1. Number 1 is the big bad, the true big bad of Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, the one, the only, Diabolico. Now, Lightspeed Rescue isn't as acclaimed as some other seasons. Personally, I adore it. I think Carter is a great Red Ranger. I like pretty much all the Rangers in the team. Titanium Ranger is, the first completely American-made Power Ranger. So there's a lot going on. It was the first time they introduced, the serialized seasons where they were standalone. A lot was happening here, and they gave us Diabolico, who has such character progression going through. He doesn't get redeemed per se, but we can see, antics going on in the courtroom of Queen Banshira, and he just plays it so well. His interactions with the Rangers change. He adapts as a character. His design is amazing, and that voice, my god, just have a listen.
Diabolical! He's alive!
So that's who Ryan was warning us about.
Little Impus, my, how you've grown.
That guy could tuck me into bed and tell me a bedtime story any night, and I would be happy. He just oozes menace and attitude, and he was a delight to watch, and I would love nothing more than to have a figure of him that I could put on my shelf and just then film stop motions of him kicking the crap out of whatever ranger or villain he fancied, because he was also a badass. I mean, did you see what he did to the Train Zord?
Well then, let me show you real power.
Holy shit. Anyway, that's enough fanboying over Diabolico, but yes, he is my number one figure I need to get. I think he may be my favorite villain from Power Rangers of all time. He tops Zed, tops Rancic. He's just incredible, and his story arc, his ending, everything about him. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's probably going to be a while down the line before we even think of getting a Diabolico figure. But he is my number one, and I'd be interested to know what your lists are, or at least who your number 1 to 3 would be, your top 3 figures you'd like to see. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for listening/watching, and hopefully I'll do more top 10 lists as we move ahead. Let me know any suggestions of things you want me to do. I'm always happy to do them. And hopefully I'll see you again. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you very much. Bye.